The PlayStation Store's March Madness sale is coming to an end tomorrow, and I want to go over 10 deals that are great to pick up right now. I already did a video going over 10 deals under the price of $10. In this video, we're removing those limitations. I also want to add that right now, the majority of you guys are watching our videos on mobile devices, and I do want to note that Cat Quest is available free on both iOS and Android right now. You can check that out. I'll leave links to both versions in the description box below. It's a game that's also on sale on the PlayStation Store right now for like $5, but hey, you can get it free on iOS. It's a very charming RPG where you play as a cat. Pretty interesting little title, and it's available as a freebie, so do give that a look. Alright, with that out of the way, do want to go over the 10 deals to cover in this video, and let's go through this relatively quickly. First up, we have Ratchet and Clank, which is just 25% off. However, it is a PlayStation Hits title, meaning that its base price is $19.99, so it's available for $14.99. This was a PlayStation Plus freebie years ago. However, if you missed out on it back then, there's definite reason to have this in your library. This is a ground-up remake of the very first Ratchet and Clank game. Not a remaster. We already had that on the PlayStation 3. Rather, this is a full-on remake, and that shines through perfectly with the PlayStation 4 hardware being perfectly in display. It still has that quirky humor, still has the great platforming gameplay you know and love out of Ratchet and Clank. If you've never played a Ratchet game, which at this point Ratchet has been kind of MIA, coming in and out if you're a younger gamer, maybe you never experienced Ratchet, well, this is a great starting point of one of the best platforming series on the PlayStation franchise as a whole, on every PlayStation platform, PS2, PS3, PSP, Vita, and PS4. Actually, there may have not been a Vita title, but nonetheless, you guys get the idea. It's a great game, and hopefully Insomniac does go back into the franchise and do another game on the PS5. That would be fantastic to see. Alright, next up, we know that Frictional Games is working on a brand new Amnesia title. However, their last game, Soma, is discounted right now. It is 80% off for $5.99. Soma is a fantastic game by Frictional. The radio is dead, food is running out, and the machines have started to think they are people. Underwater facility Pathos 2 has suffered an intolerable isolation, and we're gonna have to make some tough decisions. What can be done? What makes sense? What is there left to fight for? Soma is a game that really, as a horror title, does so many things right, and to me, it represented an evolution of Frictional Games as a development studio, and that's why I'm even more so excited for the next Amnesia game. But this game did a tremendous job of immersing you into the world and creating that atmosphere that is so engrossing. I feel like unlike a lot of other horror games, and even a lot of horror games do it right, but Frictional Games with Soma did it at such a high level, and it's done so well. It's 80% off for $5.99 right now, and I would highly recommend it at that price point. Next up, we have a very recently released PlayStation 4 exclusive in Concrete Genie. It is 50% off for $14.99. Concrete Genie follows the heartwarming journey of a bullied teen named Ash who escapes his trouble by bringing his colorful imagination to life in a sketchbook while exploring his hometown of Denska, a once bright and bustling seaside town now polluted by darkness. Ash discovers a mysterious lighthouse where he finds a magical energy that charges his paintbrush, and this is just a very charming PS4 game. It's not one that you gotta take super seriously, but it's a game that's great for people of all ages. You can be a younger gamer, you can show this to your younger sibling, a child, or whatever the case may be, and you can even enjoy it as an older gamer as well. It's just fun for everyone, and for $14.99 it has some great gameplay. It released at $29.99 already, and I thought that was a great price, but at just $15 it's absolutely worth it. Alright, next up we have the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition and Fallout 4 Game of the Year bundle. I did see Skyrim Special Edition, you can buy that standalone for $16. However, this bundle, if you're one of the 4 people in the world that don't own either of these games, or for whatever reason, maybe you don't own the DLC, maybe you bought it physically, you traded in, whatever it may be, I imagine the majority of you guys have at least played either of these games, and now you're looking to buy them again. Whatever boat you're in, if you want these 2 games on the PS4, this bundle is a great way to do so at $28. Of course, with Skyrim Special Edition, that is Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, still not at 60 FPS, which is a little bit of a bummer, but you do get the DLC, and that's great. Fallout 4 I don't think is as great of a game, but it still offers a decent bit of fun in its own right, and I do think it's a game worthwhile playing. The DLC isn't the best, but the game itself I still think is pretty good, and to get it alongside the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, I think that's a pretty good buy, all things considered, especially at $28. And given the amount of gameplay picking up both of these games will give you, I do think it's a pretty good buy right now, all things considered. Alright, next up we have Katherine Full Body Edition, 50% off for $29.99. Now, I was a big fan of Katherine last generation, and when they announced it was going to get an enhanced version with full body, I got very excited for that. However, being that this was a game that released in like 2010, 2011, and it being $60, yes, they added a decent amount of content. That price point was a little bit off-putting to me. However, at just $30, it being 50% off, I think at this point, this is a very, very good buy. Now, if you're unaware of what Katherine is, it's a mix of a dating story with a puzzle gameplay mechanic attached to it as well. It's very interesting. The story is obviously the main focal point of Katherine, and you can even play it in a story mode where the gameplay is very, very straightforward, and you can just go through it and experience the story. A couple of different routes as well, so it's worthwhile to play through the game a couple times. At $30, I think it's a great buy. You might be of the mindset that you want to wait to get it a little bit cheaper, but once it hits south of $20, it'll be an excellent buy. At $30, I still think it's very good, and that's why I'm giving it a recommendation now. Next up, we have Prey, which is 50% off for $14.99. Prey was one of the most underrated games of 2017, and I thought Arcane Studios did a great job with this game. It's an excellent Metroidvania game, not typical when you think of what a Metroidvania game is, because this is a bigger budget first-person shooter with a great sci-fi setting. However, it still employs that same idea of that there's certain locations that are restricted. You have to get abilities, items, whatever the case may be, to access certain areas, and then you have more opportunities to do other things open up to you. It's a great game and a great sci-fi FPS. Yeah, it's a single-player focus, but they did add some additional content, but you're really mainly going into it for the single player, and that is really, really well done, and you take your time with it. It does last a little while. $15 for it, I think, is a pretty good buy right now. There is a free demo available, so you can check that out as well, but definitely a strong recommendation for that. Next up, we have AI the SOMNIUM Files, which is 40% off for $35.99. So yes, still a hefty price point on this one. However, it was a relatively recent release coming out back in September of last year, so I thought it was still worth a mention. This is very much a story-driven game akin to the likes of Danganronpa or something like Zero Escape, and Spike Chunsoft and the guys that worked on this game did a really good job with this one as well. Very light on the gameplay. You have to have that expectation going into titles like this. However, they are very, very engrossing from a storytelling standpoint, a character development standpoint. They nail those elements of the game, and that's generally what you should expect out of these story-driven Spike Chunsoft games. An emotional roller coaster ride as well, ups and downs, plot twists left and right, really, really good storytelling, and there's a free demo available on this one as well. However, if you've enjoyed the titles like Zero Escape, like Danganronpa, I think this is going to be right up your alley at $36. Again, still kind of hefty in its price point, but a very good game. Next up, we have Red Faction Guerrilla Re-Mastered Edition, 80% off for $5.99. Absolutely hate that name, but I do not hate Red Faction Guerrilla as a game, because Red Faction Guerrilla is absolutely awesome. This was a game that released back in June of 2009, I believe, and I remember that release month because I remember picking it up right when it came out and really, really enjoying the game. The story isn't anything to write home about. Honestly, it's a little bit corny at times. However, the gameplay to Red Faction Guerrilla, absolutely excellent. You got this sledgehammer, you got immense amount of destructibility, you couple that together, and you get an absolute blast of an experience. No pun intended, because you're going to be blasting a lot of buildings down, and it is a lot of fun. It's a game where you can jump in and really just unwind. The gameplay isn't revolutionary by any means, and given the fact that it is 11 years old at this point, it does show its age a little bit, but overall, I still had a wealth of fun out of the game, and for $5.99, it's a great buy. Definitely give that a look, because it was a game that people missed out on back in 09, and I want to see Red Faction make a comeback, make that happen, THQ. I'm sure sooner rather than later that will be a reality. Next up, want to give a shout to Valkyria Chronicles Remastered and the Valkyria Chronicles 4 bundle, which is 50% off for $19.99. These games are excellent tactical strategy games with excellent storytelling as well, and these are the kind of games that have a fantastic art style, this watercolor art style that, even though Valkyria Chronicles was originally released in 2008, man, in 2020, it still holds up really well. And then Valkyria Chronicles 4 is great as well. Now, VC1, it should be noted that the game is quite challenging. It doesn't have difficulty options, and there will be times where you might want to pull your hair out. There are a lot of walkthroughs online, so if you do get stranded too hard, maybe that's something to look at. However, for the most part, if you do the side quests, if you take your time, if you think strategically, the game is definitely beatable. And Valkyria Chronicles 4 has an easy component as well, so if you do want to take advantage of that, that's an option as well. But both games are excellent. excellent, storytelling is top-notch, and the games are incredibly engaging from a story and character standpoint as well. Characters are very well defined, so I really enjoyed that element of the game. For $20 to get both games, I think that's a great buy, and I would definitely give that a look. Even if you're not a big JRPG fan, there were stories that are very engaging to Western audiences as well, and if you're looking for a JRPG to get into the genre, hey, VC1 and VC4 are as good as it gets. No VC2 or VC3. VC2 was on the PSP, never saw a release on any other platform, and VC3 was never released outside of Japan, which is so unfortunate because I might go as far as to say that VC3 was my favorite game out of the entire franchise because there are fan translations online, and I played through that, had a great time with it. Hopefully sooner rather than later, Sega makes that happen as well. Lastly, I do want to give a mention to Banner Saga, the trilogy. It is 60% off for $19.99. I've often said that I cannot fathom why Banner Saga has not done better from a commercial standpoint than it has, because it really has every element of a great JRPG that you want. Great story? Check. Good characters? Check. Good gameplay? Yes. Fantastic setting? Yeah, it's got that as well. There's just a lot of great elements to Banner Saga that you would think would come together and create a game that commercially would do better. Critically, it was received very well, but it's an epic Viking RPG adventure with a lot of great moments, and if you're into something like that, if you're into the setting, if you're into the look of the game just by looking at it, honestly, I think it's gonna be right up your alley, and you should give it a look at $20. This is 3 games. You get Banner Saga 1, 2, and 3, so for that, I do think this is well worth a buy. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, a lot of great games available on sale as a part of the Mega March sale, which does end tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, so take advantage of that as soon as you can, because this will be your last opportunity. I'm sure Sony will be running a new sale tomorrow, so it's not like it's the end of the world if you don't pick anything up, but nonetheless, wanted to bring this to you guys on the final day of the sale, as some of you are looking to pick up some games. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.